sad about it. Welcome back, guys. We are coming into the third round. We do have an interesting matchup actually coming forward. A player from Team Eclipse, which is my sponsor team, Nick Larsen. We do see a little bit here. It does look like he is playing Barrel Magnus. They are starting up the round, so we do have a lot of time available to set up here. And I think the other side is Frankie. I can't confirm if it's Gravidia. Do you by chance know?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It is Gravidia. He is playing Gravidia.
Ah, Gravidia.
Yeah. But it looks like the match has started from what I can see here.
Yep. You know, they got me working overtime setting up. But yeah, let's get straight into the match here, guys. We are seeing Barrel Magnus on board. My boy, he just loves Barrel, I tell you. It does look like they're already getting one of the meteors into the zone. They are focusing on the Orifice, right? And there, the Overtrigger is out of play already, and then he draws an additional card. This actually probably makes Nick very happy because Gravidia with the Overtrigger is
As someone who's
insane.
played Gravidia, it's insane. That Overtrigger in Gravidia is powerful.
Oh, yeah. So we are getting into the match. We're probably going to have to fix the camera next round. And we can still see the field, but it is starting to get a little bit slanted. And here we go. Going into the grade 2, playing another world, Soul Charge. Not a world, a meteor. Soul Charging 1. And I'm kind of shocked he already played the meteor. Oh, he's focusing on the grade 2 hit. If the grade 2 does hit, he's able to put a meteor from drop into the order zone. And he no trigger right there. What an interesting version of the deck. Oh man, and here we go. Going into Barrel Magnus. Here we're getting the actual soul charging beginning. He has one of each plus the one from the grade 1, so 4 in soul right now. 1, 2, 3. I think that's 4. You know, I'm going to try my best here. Alright, he's going to put that card in, going to 5, drawing a card, and then Soul Charging 1, going to 6 cards in Soul. Soul Charging 1 here, going to 7. I could be slightly wrong on my numbers, guys, but I do believe it is 7 in Soul.
It does seem like with Barrow now, in order to really keep up with the meta, like, you really want him to be at 15 soul.
Oh, yeah.
As first grade 3 as soon as possible.
Alright, and now we are at 10. We have made it to 10 in soul, and it does look like those brainwash orders are gaining power. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep up with the
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
field.
Got to keep up with the gotta confirm.
And here we go, paying the cost for Barrow, drawing a card and gaining 10k and a crit. So 2 damage right off the bat while he's at 1. Oh, and he gets the Overtrigger, giving an additional crit until end of game.
I don't think I've seen that ever happen in someone playing Barrow Magnus.
Dang, how can you do the barrel player like that?
It's because they usually soul charge the Overtrigger.
And here we go, going to 3 damage right off the bat, and that's wild. And now we're passing over to Frankie Payano starting his turn. A lot to come back from, being set to 3 already off the bat. You never want that before the Barrel does his first 5 attack turn. That's going to leave very little room to work with.
So now Frankie really has to push. But considering he's got a few meteorites, I don't think that'll be a problem.
What will be insane is if he does the Gravidia turn this turn, it's a heal trigger.
Oh yeah.
And it procs twice.
Yeah, could you imagine? And it totally would. He would be back at
He'll be back at 1.
Back at 1, basically.
For
nullifying.
1 heal trigger.
Oh yeah.
That would be insane.
Absolutely. So it looks like he drew into 2. So he can really just play 1 more if he wanted to.
Oh yeah.
Or he's playing Bakubirito and pulling another meteorite.
What did I miss?
Well, it looks like Frankie is about to resolve Gravidia's skill. He was able to get 2 more meteorites using playing the other Baku Burrito, which is basically on play Soul Blast 1, choose a meteorite card from drop, and play it. So it lets you cheat out meteorite cards. So it looks like he pulled out the Hell Hazard orders, which basically resolves Gravidia's skill right from the get-go.
It does look like he's worried about that Gravidia game.
Oh
that
yeah,
PG out of the
triggers
way.
activate twice and
First check.
Yep, just a
Meteor.
meteorite.
Second check.
Ooh,
Critical
a critical. Oof.
Is
Oof,
it proccing twice?
Yes, it is. It sure is. It looks like he's splitting the power and critical. Oh no, or maybe he's giving it to just one of his rear guards then? From the looks of it. Oh yeah, so now the Baku Birito on his right, is hitting for 2 damage. No, 3 damage.
Because Bakubir is so skill.
Yeah.
So, Pudgy, we did have some technical issue coming in. It does look like Nick did take game 1 with the Baku Burrito.
Yeah.
The burrito.
Yeah, the burrito. The burrito.
The two
critical,
burritos were a little bit too
the
much. for
critical
it to handle.
burrito, the spicy burritos.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frankie came in, like, I saw that, I was like, oof, this is going to be tough. That crit really mattered.
Oh, yes.
And he was able to kind of come back, and Frankie was able to come back from that and ultimately finish Nick off.
We still have a second game
Yes.
in, so
Game 2.
let's see if Nick can pull back up. He will be going first this time, so let's see what options he does have available to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like all the games that we've seen so far on stream have all gone to game 3, so do you think this trend is going to continue? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, the trend will continue.
Yeah.
It's fate.
The curse of 3s. So it looks like Nick did decide to go first.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Well, again, gain that early soul charge with the grade 1.
Yeah, it's like I feel like with Barrow, like I said, I know like we talked about earlier, I know Barrow, you really have to get that 15 soul, like first game 3, or it's going to be rough.
Yep, and it does look
Like,
like
you
he
really
is
have to
focused. Frankie is this time focusing on the video world part of the deck.
Yeah,
I'm
it looks
kind
like
of
it.
shocked he was able to fit both engines in.
Yeah, it's really not that hard. It's really easy with Gravidia. It's pretty easy because you only run the one grade 2 world order that like calls out a Shadow Army token, and that's the
all
rest
she
is
wrote.
yeah that's all she wrote. That the rest is just Gravidia, basically. That's the only time you would ever get that Shadow Army token, just for that early rush or boosting.
Early game critical.
Yeah. And of course, you got people that know Gravidia that will try to damage deny you, knowing that you'll play the order, that world order first on grade 2, and then they'll deny you. But of course, if you know how to make the reads, looks like he opted to call it the Shadow Army token and is choosing to give the 5k power to it from the grade 2's skill. Oh, he's actually playing the cat.
Yeah, that cat is going to be kind of really beneficial, getting a lot more orders into the order zone. Just because if any of those attacks hit, it's just more blessing for him. He is trying to make it much larger than it needs to be, just so he can confirm that card. But it did have a critical, so he's going to be taking 2 points of damage, going to 3. Damaging a draw trigger, so he's making a tiny bit back, but being at 3 is a little bit rough.
It really is, yeah. And I know the Festival Collection did recently, there's another card that came out in Festival Collection for Gravidia. It does what the cat does. It's only, it doesn't really require an on-hit. It just, when it attacks, on-attack, play an order from hand, and it gets 5k.
Yep, but we finally have Nick Larsen coming in here, going into his grade 3 turn. Pretty nice cards in hand, but we can't talk about them. And here we go, going into the barrel. Already have 4 cards in Soul. Soul charging 1, going to 5, and then Soul charging that 1, going to 6. Is he going to force himself to 15 this turn? I mean, his opponent's already at 2 damage.
Right.
All right, Soul charging,
It's
going
like
to 7.
He is pushing, and that Brainwash Swirler is getting bigger.
Ooh, cabbing the pony, Soul bossing out to Soul charge 2, going to 9. And here we go, pushing to 11. You don't want to see Pandemonium attack hits going into the Soul, but
Oof, that's
he
what
could get it
Yeah, he
back,
might.
I think, with the grade
he
2.
may have one in hand.
All right, so he's going to be going with 13 to Vanguard. Looks like he's going for the intercept. Free guard right off the bat. Crown busting 1, drawing a card, getting 10k in a crit to Frankie Payano while he's at 2. Is he going to say no guard? He said no guard. First check, nothing. Second check, Vero.
That is a
no
risky.
trigger checks, and grade 1 going into the damage zone. And what is the second card? Here we go, and another PG. And we're going in with 25 on the Brainwash Roller.
I think, yeah, that's crazy. I almost wanted to say, I think his saving grace was because he had the over trigger from the first game, but I realized we're in game 2.
Does look like they're getting very comfortable into the matchup. He's going in for his turn. He's gonna get on his first core video, so like his rear guards aren't gonna be as strong, but like if he does get all the orders into the drop, all right, so we are looking at 4 meteors in the drop. Technically 3, but one counts as 2. Now we got 6 meteors.
So we know for sure that he is definitely going to be able to resolve her skill.
Nick also limited the amount of grade or rear guards that were going to be retired, so the burrito will not be gained 2 crit.
No danger
this turn.
burritos here.
So, but it does get the additional 5k power, and the Vanguard is going to gain plus 15k because of its skill. He is going for the PG on the attack. Gravidia gets really scary there. First check meteor, nothing. Second check critical
Oh,
trigger.
a critical trigger.
Once again,
Ooh.
he is able to give 2 units plus 10k or give it all to 1 unit. Let's see what happens here. He is going to be focusing it all on Burrito.
Oh,
He wants to make that attack lethal, wants his opponent to guard it, and waste a lot more cards in hand. And here you are, coming to sing 3 damage once again. What's he going to do here?
my goodness.
Guard for the 20k
Yep.
and putting in that 48k guard. And here we are with the last attack. He's going to have to take it here and no trigger. Honestly, overall, pretty intense.
Yeah, it was really. This was a really. They're really neck and neck.
Oh, yeah. Both had 4 damage, trying to not give any room. But, you know, looking at it, like, just the amount of guard you have to commit to Gravidia for something that's as measly as just 1 attack.
Yeah. You really. This is definitely Gravidia. It's definitely a deck you don't want to no guard.
Yeah, but it does look like he is calling another grade 3 to the field, soul charging 2, then soul blasting the point to soul charge another 2. I believe he's now at 15 exact. Going in with the I can't remember the succubus's name. All right, going in with the attack. At the end of battle, it goes to soul to counter charge 1, and its second skill is that when the attack hits, he able to soul charge, but he did guard the attack. Going with it now with a 23k swing with his grade 3 rear guard, and then following that, he's going to be able to call 2 cards from soul on the Vanguard skill.
All right, so it looks like he is going in.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
you have to.
Yeah.
And here we go. Let's see what he decides to
Sucking
call out.
everything
I'm
soul.
expecting. Thing about Dark States is I barely remember the names unless it's in Bruce, right?
Yeah.
He could be calling out the grade 2 that gives 5k to the front row, and then yep, there it is.
Yep, there it is. Yep.
And then if he wanted to, he can discard a card from hand and add any card from his soul to hand, and then soul charge 1. Let's see what he decides on the second one. He could call another copy, or he can call the grade 2 that says go to soul, or he could go for the grade 1 that gains 10k if there's 10 or more cards in soul. Does look like he went with that decision. Now activating the skill, discarding a card from hand, grabbing a card from soul, and then soul charge 1. Oh, and he soul
Oh, yeah.
charges a Gumon. He could get that later if he has one of those grade 2s he called out in hand. It does require it to be sent to soul, which is what Barrow is good at. Meant mainly for greed on, but you know, I digress.
Yeah, it's funny how like kind of like how the Stoicheia things that how cards mesh together in Stoicheia. I think the same can be applied in Dark States. There's so many cards that really work well together. Cards that were clearly meant for one ride line work really well in Barrow, like Gumon, for example.
Yeah. Does look like he PG'd the barrel swing. Now we're coming into the rear guard, which I do believe is 25k. And the rear guard is 43k. Taking the hit, hitting a critical
40K.
trigger, and going to 6. It does look like they're going to be going
Oh,
into
yeah, this is-
game 3. You
There we
called
go.
it.
I called it,
You
yeah.
called it.
How did I know? It was literally every single game we've been streaming has gone to game 3, and it looks like the fight between Nick and Frankie is no exception.
So the game is going underway. Let's get some questions out of the way. So what's up, chat? It does look like Eddie had a question. But question for you, actually, Amelia.
Yeah.
We are in a time where there are 3 formats in Vanguard. Is there one that you favor more than the other? And do you feel like the third one that's missing from Kingslayer should be implemented, more specifically V Premium?
Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely say on the 3 formats, it's hard for me to choose because I enjoy them all in their own respects. I definitely will say I really enjoy V Premium just because of the lack of the overtrigger that's not in there. I feel like if you want to play a format where there's no overtrigger, play V. I would definitely say standard. I mean, standard is good. It's great in its own respect as well. But I also really enjoy premium. And I'm glad that they're making those changes.
Yes.
I will say though, and then of course to address the other question that you had in regards to, perhaps maybe Kingslayer cards. I know they did before. Maybe host a third format, like include V Premium in there. I think that'd be really great. I would love to see.
I think the one issue would be the lower in pricing because of the third format having to be implemented.
Right, exactly.
And then hoping for the turnout for that third format while another format is being played.
Right, exactly. I think it's kind of what happened with how Bushiroad has handled their events. People have it's like having standard and V on the same day. It kind of divides people a little bit, but
exactly.
It's tough. So I looking at it from like a business perspective, it makes sense this way. But I would love to see a V premium like tournaments.
Yep, it does look like they are getting underway, building their hand. They have a lot of time available, so they can take their time. They can chat it up, enjoy each other's company, get their number.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the point of it, like you want to have fun here. I mean, yeah, this is very clearly like a high stakes, high reward tournament, but you still want to have fun. And it looks like for the most part, they're like they were kind of like just chit chatting and just having fun, having a good time. That's the point. You want to have fun. You don't want to get like to take it too seriously.
Of course.
Yeah. So it looks like Frankie decided to go first. Unless they dice rolled and I missed that.
Games in a row, baby.
As we get the match underway, one thing I would say clear is some of these matchups have repetitive startups, right? Not a lot of people do the grade 1 rush turn. Not a lot of people do it on grade 2. It's more like just getting through the write-ups, getting into grade 3, and like building that turn. Reminds me a lot about back in the day with like first Mega Blast and Limit Break era.
Yeah, those are terms that I only heard about them once, and that was like from people that have played Vanguard, in that era. I only started late into G era. I don't know if you remember that. I think that's what.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know if you can. That's a funny story.
Yeah.
Let's share that.
Yeah.
I think I was super mean that day.
You bullied me. I was a newbie. I had this I had like this Asha trial deck, and you just destroyed me.
Yeah.
At locals.
So she goes in locals, and I knew all 7 cards in her hand. And she was thinking about how to guard, and I was like, I'm going to tell you right now, there's 5 attacks. 3 of these attacks you had to guard 2 or more. Even if you PG, that's still 2 cards from hand. You should just take the attack.
Yeah. Yep.
And then like she was like, I'm deciding how to guard, and then I respond to her as like, you have a 5k, a 10k, 3. You have 3 10ks, 1 5k, and a PG.
Yep. I do remember
and
that.
like,
Yep.
and then 2 grade 3s, and she's like, "What are you, Kai?" And I'm like,
Right.
"No."
Mind you, I had just started getting into the anime too, so I just started, and I had this like pitiful deck.
She was so confused how I knew every card.
And so it looks like
and that's another thing I actually kind of want to bring up. In Vanguard, there's just a lot of focus on using different card strategies from playing card games that you incorporate back in. Like, my biggest thing is like I try to use statistics when I play, right?
right.
So I focused more on the way of how you play blackjack when I play Vanguard. So I do a lot of card counting and probability.
That checks. That makes a lot of sense.
And with that, you kind of just focus on things like knowing what people have in hand, seeing what they're doing. One tip of the day, guys, when you play a game and you have, you're going to guard a trigger. If you draw check a trigger last turn, and if it's just they're both the same type of trigger, like a regular trigger, guard with what they've seen so they don't know what's in your hand.
That is actually a brilliant strategy. I didn't really think about that. You gotta play mind games.
Mind games are more like don't show all your secrets in one shot. It does look like Nick's finally getting into his grade 3 turn. It does look. We did kind of hide a little bit of that Gravidia match right there. Going into the Gravidia ride because it didn't look like he was pulling in enough of the meteors to
right,
really
he wasn't
push.
really seeing them. That's the thing with Gravidia. It's like you want to see them, or you want to try to like fetch as many as you can, or it's just you're basically swinging vanilla. It's just vanilla swings with Gravidia. So it looks like Nick is at 9 in soul, so he's not quite there, but knowing this deck, it won't be that hard to get that extra soul in there.
No, and then because of last turn on Frankie Payano's part, pulling the heal trigger and going back to 0, it's putting Nick at a weird spot because
Yeah.
he could just stay at 10, but the fact is that he's putting no pressure to his opponent, and if this keeps going forward and like Payano just takes the hits this turn, he can't really lose a hand size, and that's pretty much going to be the biggest issue, is removing Gravidia's hand size, because they're already, even if he guards with 2 cards in hand, he regains that on the following turn when he persona writes and searches for 2 meteors.
Right.
So it's going to be kind of difficult for him to like maintain that hand size or it's going to be difficult for Nick to get rid of that hand size if it just keeps regrowing itself.
Yeah, it really is like it might be an uphill battle because I'm looking at although I can't see the cards in his hand, it looks like a pretty healthy, modest hand.
Yep.
So I think he'll be okay.
Does look like he's going with Brainwash. So getting the 10k in draw, giving a critical to the Vanguard here. Swinging at Vanguard, he's going to hope he's just taking the attack. Getting a 10k draw trigger and a critical, putting him to 3 damage and power to rear guard. So this is a weird dynamic, but it's kind of going to work in terms of Nick's favor here. So his opponent's now at 3 damage. He just gained power to a rear guard twice. That thing's a 23k attack plus a Brainwash Swirler, which is 13 or more. So it's above 36k. Going to his opponent, he did pull a trick. Oh, it's only 28. That's weird. But Brainwash, maybe he took 2 damage? Okay. No worries here.
Trust the process.
I kind of feel like that attack was slightly bigger.
Knowing Brainwash Swirler, it probably was.
Yeah,
It's really-
no
it can
matter
be
what,
hard
he
to
got a
track.
trigger.
Yeah.
His opponent didn't guard the attack. He took the hit. He pulled the draw trigger. That was a 23. Unless that rear guard he had was a 10k intercept. I mean, I can understand it being 31, right? But that was already 23, and the Brainwash Swirlers didn't come last turn, so that would have been a 13 or more K. So I'm still
Right.
kind of thinking that was like 36 or more.
I
So
would
I
say
don't think
it
that
was around that
intercept was enough.
ballpark. Yeah, I would say definitely around that ballpark for sure. But he looks like Frankie did bust out the Baku Beauty Toad to like cheat out some more meteorites.
Yep, it does look like he finally made it to 5. I did
Yeah.
not see a
Oh, yeah.
Persona. No, he Persona Road.
Yep, he did. He has enough
But
to.
did he not? No, yeah, he did church.
Yeah, he has enough to resolve Gravidia's skill.
Yep, activating skill, calling a Shadow Army token to the board, deciding what he's going to be calling out. And looks like he's going to focus on the Bakuburito. I think he's banking, and I mean banking
Yeah.
on that critical.
I think it's exactly what's going on. I mean, it's a gamble. It really is. But
But
looks
if it pays off, it pays off.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely will reward him for sure.
It does look like he is going to be binding his Bakuburito, no, sending it back to deck with the grade 1. And I'm not sure if you draw a card for that. I'm not confident in that. The moves were made.
Yes, definitely moves were made. I can't say it's a play. I've seen it. Might. Then again, he is using a card. Oh, I see. He's using a card that looks like from Ava.
Yep, and he is popping 3, so Bakuburito is getting an additional critical. Vanguard is getting 15k power. Bakuburito is getting a 5k, so technically 15k in total. And now we're going to be seeing the PG on Larsen's part.
So
and if
she's
hopefully a critical doesn't get pulled.
Oh,
First
a
check,
heal trigger. A heal trigger.
Gets to
Ooh.
activate twice, and I do
Yes.
think that he heals twice as well.
He
Because
does.
He is at 2 damage.
Yep, trigger effects activate twice, and that was a heal trigger
Yep.
that he checked.
I wonder if he's going to heal twice. And then here we go. Yeah, heal twice.
He does. Yep, he sure does.
Going it back to 1.
Yep. We just talked about that
Gravidia,
happening.
why are you so difficult?
This is why, yeah, she's nasty.
And hero coming to second gen Bakuburito. So no critical trigger, only 2 damage on the Bakuburito play, which is going to be difficult to guard, but it may be the better one to guard. If you're going into 3 damage, you can bank on hitting 2 heals at 3, but you can't bank on hitting 3.
Right.
Or at least getting to a more even number here. But here where I come back and talk about hand size here. Look at Frankie Payano's hand. Look at how much damage he is. He has so much. He can lose so much and still pull ahead. And it's just overall very difficult when this is what you got to do against Gravidia. Or like with Gravidia.
Right. He can literally no guard and be okay. You know, he's got. I think he's in a really good spot right now. Given, I think they can only push so much, but like I said, this is Vanguard, so the tides can turn, tables can turn at any time.
Yep. Does look like Nick is at 13 in Soul. He does have both the Succubus units, so because he's above 10, they go to Soul anyway, so he has exactly 15 at the end of these 2 attacks going into the Vanguard swing. It does look like he's probably going to have to boost with the Brainwash Swirler. If he Persona Road, which I do see a marker there, so I'm going to assume, yep, he Persona Road the attack. So that one rearguard is going to be a 28k swing, while the following one is going to be 33 to the Vanguard. Decent numbers, but that that double heal though with the 1 trigger, it's just so unnerving.
It
having
really.
to see. And I'm on the other side, guys. I'm not even in this match, and I'm upset.
Right. I would have been, if that had happened to me, if that was my opponent, I can't say that I wouldn't feel some type of way about it.
So there's going to be almost 10 minutes left in the round.
And I think when things get closer, when the clock ticks closer to to time, it really is like a pivotal moment.
Oh, 100%.
Like the pressure is on. Like your your adrenaline starts flowing even more, for sure.
Yep, and it does look like he's going with the grade 2 that gives 5k to the front, and then another one of the Succubuses to put Soul in counter charge. Discarding a card and now grabbing any card from Soul to add to hand and then Soul Charge 1. He's seeing what is available. Probably that PG. Good call right there.
Oh, yeah.
Having to deal with that
Absolutely.
Gravidia swing.
That is actually, I was like trying to remember her name. It's Selfish Engraver.
Selfish Engraver, correct.
Selfish Engraver is her name.
Yeah, I can't see what that is. But it's guarding the attack.
Yes.
And what a glare on the
Definitely
Guardian
what
Circle.
a glare. I did not see it either.
Alright, first check. Getting a front trigger, making that column making that field much bigger. And let's see if he gets another one, because our Self-Engraver is now a 30k attacker. Getting a critical trigger. Self-Engraver is actually 35, and that grade 2 rear guard is also 35. Getting the power now, so it's going to be a 45k swing.
$45K. So we've got 45 and 55,000 power respectively.
Yep, because the 10k from barrel skill, 10k from Persona right, so that's where the 30 came. The front trigger was the 40k, and then the 5k from the rear. And then since the 10, he got a critical and gave it to the rear guard, that's going to be a 55k swing.
So the pressure is on. I mean, yeah, you know, Frankie is at 2 damage. You know, he can technically no guard, but I guess, you know, you also, if you play this game competitively, you really have to think in the future as well. Like, every little bit, choices that you make in this turn can affect you later on, and it bites you.
Yep, and look at that overguard coming in Frankie Payano.
Yeah.
He must have had a very sizable hand, but just not enough to, like, guard everything.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to be taking these 2. I think he has 4 cards in hand, or maybe does that look like 4? That definitely does not look like 4.
But we know he was able to definitely Persona ride, and once again, he's fishing out those meteorites. I wonder which ones he'll pick. Because I know he's got the grade 1 meteorites. I don't know if he has
So
any
we've
more
seen
of the
2 of the ones that count as 2.
2, yep.
I don't know if he's running all 4 copies.
I feel like you want to, though. You want to run those copies of Falling Hell Hazard.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like he grabbed any of them, so I'm willing to believe that he possibly is almost out.
Yeah, he might have. That would check.
Which kind of relieves some pressure on Nick's side over there.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it looks like he was not able to really resolve Gravidia's on-place skill, but he did get the Persona right.
And
So
he
only has 2 meteorite. He only has
he has 3 technically.
3.
Yeah.
3 technically. So he'll still be able to, at best, still get the 15k in a crit, but not the trigger activation.
And here we go, going into the match, calling Baku Viruto. Really good. He did not give him the 3 units on the field, so that Baku Viruto is just going to gain 5k power.
Okay, so it looks like he was able to fish out 1 more meteorite.
Here we go, calling the grade 1, trying to return some of the stuff back to deck, and here we go, now Baku Viruto.
I know. Burrito. Danger burrito.
Dangerous burrito.
Dangerous burrito.
On the field.
On the field. Yeah,
Why do I
can't-
feel like Standard has more difficult names?
They really... I feel like they're hit or miss. It's kind of crazy to see. You know, that's one thing I love about Standard.
Chakravarti,
Bob Sagra.
Bob Sagra. Yo.
Yo. Yeah. Yo. Flagberg. Burger boat. So it's looking like Frankie is going for that push, but I don't think he used Gravidia's skill. And I think that there's a decisive play of whether to guard or not to guard. Checking your
That is the
opponent's-
question.
That is the question. You know, checking in the drop zone, checking in the damage zone, the soul, all those things to get an idea of how many triggers are left in the deck.
If Frankie hits another heal, I will get off this seat
Oh
and
dear.
interrupt the match.
Right, interrupt the match. It's like the surprise
It's
challenger.
anyone's game.
Yeah.
I have to be unbiased, right?
Of course, yeah,
And, like,
we have to.
But boss, a double heel off one
Right,
heel.
that was wild. That was crazy.
Why is
that was
Gravidia so good?
That was well played. But then
Alright.
again, that's Gravidia,
I
and
didn't see any of those checks.
I didn't see them either.
He's taking 2 points because Gravidia gains a crit, gets a heel trigger, heals 1 point. Nick deserved it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That was definitely fair, considering the shenanigans Frankie pulled.
And it looks like we are with 4 minutes left in the round, so we are going to be going into
Yeah, that's what it's
time
looking
if this match keeps continuing.
like. Oh yeah.
Frankie's looking at his options here. He has like 4 cards in hand. Definitely not 4.
They look like. No, it's more than 4.
Like 5, I think. Ooh. And look at this option here, having to just swing with Barrow, activating skill, putting everything to soul, calling 2 out. You know, this is probably a good call, even if he had cards in hand. Oh, and he's just gonna go big, go home.
I mean, you have to. At this time, we're getting cool. We're like less than 3 minutes to time.
Looking at triggers, deciding what he wants. I wouldn't be surprised if he sends his whole soul into.
Oh yeah, that's looks like what he's doing right now. He is like trying to recycle by playing that card. But I think it only recycles normal units. I believe it. You can't put triggers back in the deck, right? If I remember that card
but
correctly.
I don't see a trigger in there, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
So, I don't know if it's on swing, or if he has to activate it now. Oh, he's changing his mind here. Oh no, it's still playing it. We're coming to a situation that we talked about earlier in the last round where like a card was already placed,
Oh yeah.
and then now like they have to work with what they got.
Like once it's placed, it's like that's it.
Yeah.
That is, you are committed. You are committing to that play.
It's always down to like
Yeah.
player's discretion if he's fine with him switching it up.
Yeah. I think it's like the player.
It does look like the Frankie's gonna be fine with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot less of a
I've
deck.
also seen it. Alternatively, I've also seen people place cards face down to like determine if how they want to play the cards, and I've seen people do that too. They're not revealing the cards yet, but they're like determining. They're like playing it on the board. It's like thinking about how they're going to play it, but then they take it back.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
So it looks like he didn't get the persona right, so it's going to be doing 23, 2 damage, 28, and then another 23k attack. It looks different. He's still deciding how he's going to guard this swing. Honestly, knowing how far we're coming to this match, if like both hand sizes are incapable of like matching up, the hands are sized pretty big, but like I'm talking about a scenario where like all I could do was swing with Barrow. I probably would have gone with that grade 2, like Loopy Laudry or Laudry Loopy,
Yeah.
something like that, and then I would just grab the soul and shove it.
Right.
I would be like, go big or go home.
Absolutely. Just commit. Just do it. What's it matter? We got less than a minute into time, and then it'll be
Yeah,
0
they're
1.
both at 4.
Yeah.
That's you need is Gravidia hitting 2 here.
Right. That's crazy. We need more trigger sacking.
He's deciding how he's going to guard this attack. It's a 23k, but if he gets a trigger, it's over. You always want to guard a little bit more on this swing, and it's just very difficult to see what is the best move.
Right, especially it's like when you have like I feel like when you have like again like you've got 2 seasoned players and they're thinking about their game, their turns, and how they're gonna play this out. So we are getting it's like 5 seconds left to time, and
Yep, 5 seconds left in the
Yeah.
round. Let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Taking the damage,
And-
going to 5, guarding the last swing,
Ooh.
and we are now proceeding into 0, 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
then sudden death.
And the pressure is on.
Yep, here we go. Doesn't get the persona right. Puts another meter in
Nope.
there. He now has the 5 ready and set to go.
Yeah.
Calls a trigger, 2 triggers to the front row. He is
Oh, yeah,
not
you
getting
gotta
any
commit.
power yet.
This
Vanguard's
is
a
it.
28k with a crit.
Oh yeah, and triggers activate
Yeah.
twice.
Look at that, a PG.
Oh yeah, right off the bat, like you. No.
First
Here we
check,
go.
nothing.
Nothing.
Second check,
Ooh,
nothing. Turns
oh,
passing.
No. Oof.
And now we're going in with turn 2. I don't think he has a lot left in deck, so
No, it
I
doesn't
don't know how
look
he's
like
gonna-
it. He's got like a few cards
Oh
left.
no, he's fine.
Okay.
He has all the counterblast. He goes into returns everything. He doesn't deck out. He just can't do anything that will make him deck out now.
Gotcha. Yep, this is a
There
and
we go, taking the hit.
that's
taking
it.
the game,
And that was
that's
a
it.
very
Nick Larsen taking the
Wow.
game.
good job, Nick. Well played, but also well played to Frankie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome.
No, I understand. So we got into sudden death there, guys. So the matches are going to be continuing going into round 4. Overall, really good match on both sides here. This was one of the mid brackets runs, so 1-1.
Yeah.
So Nick will be going 2-1 now. Still got a few more matches. I do think there are a total of 3 rounds left, or modified, like we said before. So good luck to anyone coming up into the next round. It looks like we're getting very close, and I'm starving.
And it doesn't help that I can smell pizza in the air. So I'm seeing some pizza boxes over there. So
We'll see what happens.
yeah.
But guys, we are going to be going into our break. So see you next round. Good luck. And you guys have any questions, we'll be around in the chat. So just send them through and we'll check them out. Other than that, see you in the next round. Adios.